Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Aquarius April 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and I've done a number of clairvoyant readings for you over the course of the last month, haven't I? And you know who you are, and also healings for many of you as well. And if you feel drawn or led to consider having a healing or a clairvoyant psychic reading from me, just check out the information which is in the description box below. It's quite straightforward. But now, as the subscribers know, and so good to see you subscribers, you know, I really look forward to seeing you each month. Truly I do. Much love and affection always being sent to you. Much love and affection. And as you know, there are no video advertisements poking their way into this content, so you get to enjoy the experience of the reading directly without interruption. Now, what is also interesting is that this is an old Russian deck. It's got a lot of Russian Orthodox imagery associated with it. I just respond well to it. That's why I want to use it. You probably haven't seen it from me before. Maybe you have. It would have been a long time ago if that's the case. But I do use it for particular things. I use it in particular for my internal spiritual work. So I get a good spiritual response from it. But we're going to take 5 cards now, shall we? And we'll see what is in store for you this month. There's the 5 of coins. A couple here. This is the 10 of coins, immediately cancelling the 5. There's the Knight of Cups. So, what's in here? See what there is, shall we? 3 of Cups. Isn't that a lovely picture? It's sort of simple, the art on this, and yet quaint, I guess you'd say. See what there is here? There's the Knight of Swords. Good man. Well, why don't you, as is our usual practice, I'll ask you to come down here. Sit down here next to me. We'll have a good close look at the imagery on these cards together, and I'll do the reading for you. Now, there really is a sense here of you having some worry at some point during the month, despite the fact that some worry about things going on in your material life. Despite the fact that you have despite the fact that the worries are unfounded. There's good love coming for you. There's a couple of people in your life here as well as advice for you. But let's have a look at this 5 of coins first. And why do I think that there is some sense of worry around you? Can that be you? Certainly not. Surely the great Aquarius. Well, this is Mercury ruling the first decan of Taurus, that 20th to the 30th of April. Now, Mercury, you know, is that flighty, fast, speedy planet. It zips around the sun, it goes behind it, it comes back out, it moves forward, it goes into retrograde. Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the great diplomat. It's the planet of great intellect. And if anybody knows anything about having a great intellect, that's you. If anybody should have a feeling of optimism, that is you. And yet, there is here the speed and the fluidity of Mercury maybe being slowed down by the fixed sign of Earth being Taurus. I mean, Taurus just wants to sit there obstinately, fixed. Now, you're a fixed sign, so you understand why it's important to sometimes just stay still and let things develop around you. But while you're doing that, though, I feel that there is some sense where you see, your mind is so good that it can sometimes run down foxholes which have at the end of them a lack of self-belief, or a sense where you might feel isolated or down on your luck, or at the end of it there is a loss of faith, or a worry or a fear of some sort of a setback. So much so that you might think at a time here that there's a feeling of, I have too many cares, and there's almost like a brooding pessimism that's around here, possibly problematic communications. Now, your own energy might be blocked and your thoughts keep revolving around finding a solution, a way out, a breakthrough. This situation, I think, touches the depths of your subconscious. It goes right through you. But rather than you stepping back and looking at what the situation is, rather than using that analytical mind, you feel that there is a black hole, that there is a no way out, a hopelessness. Now, Mercury in Taurus, you see, it needs a very powerful Mercury to upset Taurus. So the natural meaning is intelligence applied to labor. It represents instability in matter, something like an earthquake that's going around here. The general effect is one of intense strain, yet the symbol of this energy here is that of maybe a continued inaction on your behalf. It's almost a feeling like of, you know how sheep dogs will worry a flock of sheep or cattle. It's almost as if you are inflicting yourself with the worrying that might be applied by a dog to a herd of sheep or cattle. Now, your inner wisdom, I think, is telling you now to do something. The problem in this situation is that you remain still, that fixed sign of Taurus, while at the same time tormenting yourself with your entangled thoughts. Now, I think that this is something which has been going on for some time and you haven't properly dealt with it. You might be saying to yourself, am I getting myself into a situation that I might not be able to get out of? Will events overwhelm me? But you know, worry is about past and future, and neither exist. The past is buried in the cemetery and the future doesn't exist. Now, if you were your last day on Earth and you were worrying about things, would you be using the time left to you to worry about a particular situation? Is there something which poses a threat to your overall security? And I can tell you that this threat is not going to eventuate. Well, this might be unexpected expense, or job worries, or maybe even a disruption in your family life. But you have to remember about worry that worry, firstly, does nothing, and can, secondly, by inaction, make things worse. Do you know what I do in these situations? I give it to God and say, here, help me. I don't know what to do. You give me the solution. And it always comes back within a day or two in an area that you never expected to. You know, the appearance of our worries is in reality the acceptance of our Creator's perfection. One of our biggest mistakes is to ignore what happens within us. There is no shame in letting your Creator know that you are falling and that you need Him to pick you up. The fall of the ego becomes the rise of the soul. Your soul wants to meet you. It wants to breathe. It wants to speak. It wants to see with the clarity of the eyes of your heart. These eyes of the heart are bestowed directly upon you by your Creator to witness Him and His pleasure. And the friends of the divine are not in search of their own eyes. They are in search of His eyes. But because this card has come up, and because it is the first card that's come up for you, it says that you are ready to look at your situation as it is. You now have an opportunity to free yourself by initiating the necessary discussion, either with partners or with yourself. And only clear and open communication will facilitate progress. Now, in what areas or situations are you not clear and decisive enough? With which people do you need to clarify things? Say to yourself, I am ready to look at my life as it is and trust in the process of resolving my fears. I am straightening out my life. There's nothing for you to worry about, but look, we all worry about things from time to time, don't we? But you know what we worry about? What we worry about never actually happens. Have you noticed that in the past? It never happens. But you have so many good things coming for you this month anyway that worry is misplaced. Here we have the Knight of Cups. Now, I think that people who are going to be important to you at this time are Scorpio and Libra. Now, this Knight of Cups is a young man, but I can tell you that these court cards can be of either gender, irrespective of how they happen to be set out. And this is a young man of subtlety, secret violence, someone who can be quite manipulative, someone who's very crafty, someone who is like an artist who is calm on the surface, but it masks a intense passion. Now, as a knight, he's air, and as cups, he's water. Air and water. Well, they strengthen each other esoterically, but they are neutral. In elemental dignity rules, there are no elemental contradictions in his makeup. But with him, and because of this energy of Scorpio that I'm getting around it here, I think that this energy combining with Scorpio combines to make him quite an intense character. Now, as a fast river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life as is possible. Now, what I am also getting around here are desires, wishes, craving. This person here is someone who has the ability to detach, and that's because I'm getting that Libra energy around as well. That's another air sign. As you know, it's the cardinal air sign. This is someone who can detach from that heavy, intense, controlling emotion of Scorpio. Now, his emotions, therefore, can appear detached and cool, but often this is a front for insecurity and fear. Now, usually the feminine asks the masculine to go deeper into his feelings and join her in the place where the two meet as one in relationship. But this person here, though, is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word. He is perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power, for information, with which he can manipulate people, and he cares for his own aims first. He feels no responsibility for others, and basically just cannot be relied upon. He looks after himself, and if you are under any misapprehension as to where you stand behind him. He's number one. So that may be someone that you know. Now, wishes and desires of your own, of course, must be perceived and recognized. They are the fundamental driving force in your life, and it's only possible to use and master them if you are wide awake and alert. Instead of suppressing them, you can use them in the process of becoming more aware. When seen in this way, they are a vehicle that helps you journey into the world within. So you may well, during this period, appear calm, but that calmness might mask a passion and an intensity that may make you quite volatile. You will have a lot to offer. There is an immense ability with you, but make sure that you turn up on time. Make sure that you can be relied upon. Now, this guy's main responsibility is to himself, but you have a far more outwardly reaching personality than that. Now, he can be secretive, hiding his deepest desires. It could well be someone that's involved in arts or music or fashion. Anything to do with that, film, anything, those type of things is what I'm getting. Now, this is someone who can be able to provide good advice to people, and they're a good person to ask things to do with other people's lives, because usually they've done everything themselves. But at worst, this person can be cruel, selfish, and reckless. But for you, I think that this energy is coming up here and is saying, Accept your sexual needs and passions and live them out with awareness. You'll discover a lot in this process. Give yourself totally to the experience and observe yourself in it. Now, what secret wishes are you unwilling to admit to? Spend some time each day visualizing yourself with your desires, but without getting lost in them. And say to yourself, I now live out my sexual desires. This makes me more vital and fulfilled. Now there's another knight down here. This is the Knight of Swords. A lot of Aquarius around this, which is unsurprising. And a lot of Capricorn here as well. So you may be having dealings with Capricorns here. This is the Prince of the Chariots of the Wind. As a knight he is, as we saw before, air, and this time he's in the suit of air. So there's lots of air there. There's a lot of activity with you. But are there any plans with you? It might be that you can move forward easily enough, but your progress may actually be in any random, accidental direction. The issue is, are you going to be taking control of the moment? And are you going to ensure that you have a plan as to where you're going? Now, you will have a lot of intuition, a lot of creative thinking. You'll be cutting through all entanglements, becoming free of limited ideas and models, and there's a clear perception with you as well. This is a young man, my previous comment about genders applies, who is intellectual, full of ideas, very clever, but possibly a little unstable, and someone who can be domineering, elusive, and impressionable. This is someone who can really require the need to make sure that the ideas that come up to him are actually applied in a practical way. This is asking to say that, look, although each idea may be good, don't just throw out the last good idea and then move to this idea. Rather, take an idea, make it tangible, put it into practice and make it work. You can do that. With all this air flying around, the danger is that you'll have a lot of ideas, but not a lot of directed motion. Because reality is different. You don't simply fall into situations accidentally, but you need to create them around yourself based on your beliefs about reality. Now, if you closely examine aspects of yourself which are unsatisfactory, you can see that each uncomfortable or unworkable situation serves to show you your own misconceptions and mistaken attitudes. And once you have seen these for what they are, you can correct them and let them go. But I think that you are going to be a person who's clearly highly developed intellectually. You love thinking, questioning, and philosophizing. You'll be good at creating new ideas quickly, but there is a danger that you're going to move on without developing them. Your intellect might be draining to those who are unable to keep up with you. You will be independent, private. Some people might find that you are difficult to get to know, and some people may even think that you lack emotional warmth or empathy, that you are standoffish. So just be aware of this, and I think that this does indicate perhaps the need to slow down and analyze thoughts to see if something practical can be gained from them. Free yourself from whatever limits your mind and spirit, but be sure you express your ideas and plans in ways that other people will understand and accept their opinions humbly. Your thinking may just be way ahead of its time, but you can adjust to make your vision workable in the present without sacrificing anything. Now, what beliefs, feelings, relationships, or programmed ideas do you allow to limit you? Say this to yourself. My creative possibilities have no limits, but they do need... Oops, excuse me while I bash myself there. I'll say that again. My creative possibilities have no limits, but they do need to be grounded. Right. I'm sure you've got the idea of that. Now, let's have a look at this. This is the Three of Cups. Hello, Three of Cups. Now, is that actually in focus. Let's have a look at it. There it is there. Well, this Three of Cups, what a great energy for you here. This is the Lord of Abundance, and it is Mercury in the second decan of Cancer. Mercury, of course, is a great planet for you. Mercury is exalted in your sign, and in the second decan of Cancer here, that's the 2nd to the 11th of July, it sits. Well, Cancer is the most maternal of the signs and well placed with this number 3. You see, with this number 3, I have an association with, mystically, with almost like a womb that has an embryo in it that grows and grows and grows and grows. So the 3 is about growth and fertility, development here. And Cancer, well, that is the most maternal of the signs, and it's well placed here with this number 3 in this situation. And Cancer people, well, they can communicate with feeling, can't they? Conveying a sensitive, withdrawn, and thoughtful sort of outlook. Gentle, intuitive type of people they are, really, aren't they? And I think that what Mercury is bringing you here is will and willpower and communication ability into Cancer, which is nurturing, so you can express your feelings fully with people that you are close to in a way which is going to really enrich your life. So I see here overflowing exchange of love, rare, valuable feelings and perceptions which can be communicated intimately. I also get the feeling of gatherings around here, gatherings of family or gatherings of friends here. The love represented here is of the highest order, and it is available to be shared with only a small circle of people. Now, these 3 cups which these young women hold, I think they stand for 3 important people in your life with whom you can exchange these precious and exquisite feelings with great intimacy. Now, such relationships are rare gifts. Care for them with respect and with gratitude. I think you have something especially valuable to share. Be open for the people who can share these exquisite feelings with you. They are also a gift. You don't need to look for them. So with that energy there, as I say, I get the feeling of birth, the birth of an idea. Now, I know that we were talking about one idea coming after another, but I think you settle on a really good idea and then you go for it. So it's the birth of an idea, which is then so what you take is you take an idea, it's then given form and becomes real. There's a goal being set here, or there could be the birth of a child around. Certainly, I think you'll be sharing success with others, and life is going to feel good, and it's a good time to tell other people that you love them. Tell them that you love them. That's Mercury. Communicate. It's also a good time to boost the morale of other people, especially those people to whom a kind word is very rarely given. Enjoy your riches at the moment, but be aware of their limitations and see them for what they are. Yeah, I think there is an outpouring of love to 3 very significant people in your life. And Mercury, as I say, is telling you to tell them of your feelings for them. So are there any people to whom you have not yet outwardly expressed the love you feel them? Give whatever you would like to now in full awareness of your boundless riches, and say to yourself, today life gives me everything I need to be happy. Now, maybe this worry that you had before was a worry about somebody else, because in your own circumstances, from what I can tell here on this line, touching onto the Knight of Cups and above the Knight of Swords there, 3 of Cups diagonally opposite. And I said, didn't I, that this 10 cancels that 5, because it might be someone else. This is talking about great prosperity for you, a great sense of good feelings with you, because it is again Mercury, this time ruling the 3rd decan of Virgo. Well, actually, as I said, Mercury is exalted in your sign of Aquarius, but Mercury is the ruler of and is also exalted in Virgo. So you'll have good communication skills with Mercury and good organizational ability from Virgo. So there is success and abundance with this energy here. There are inner and outer riches around, and the ability to make the inner wealth visible and share it with others. I really do get the feeling that you are going to be feeling pretty good about life, that you have a feeling of wellness around you, a feeling of things are going okay. Now, it could be that there is a small lottery win. Someone's going to get an inheritance here. I do feel also there's a supportive and tight-knit family around here. This is very good for those who are involved in a family business. But remember that even the greatest treasures lose their worth if not used in the service of love. Holding back energy, which is an expression of wealth, turns it sour. Now, there is, I think, someone around here who is... Well, let me put it this way. You have attracted to you everyone who is a part of your life. You have created every situation in your life, and you create your own reality. The wealth in your hands is your own to do with what you like. The responsibility is yours, and you are endlessly wealthy. Do you know about your inner wealth? Do you share it generously? On a piece of paper, take a pen. I know it sounds anachronistic these days, but there's a power in actually physically writing something down. Write down all the qualities which constitute your inner riches and say this to yourself. I am internally and externally rich and free and enjoy everything thankfully and in surrender. Well, what a particularly great spread of cards for you this month. Well done, you. Good job. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed providing it to you. It really was an interesting reading, and great things are in store for you this month. I found the artwork, did you not, to be quite interesting. It's not the type of thing that you see every day, is it? But anyway, there'll be a different deck for next month. But in the meantime, I want you to remember one thing and one thing only, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.